Good evening, girlfriends. This is Angela Jordan Perry. We have an exciting evening ahead of us with our special guest. It's going to be on fire. Yes, cannot wait. So if you're waiting, we're waiting for our special guest to get on here. Go ahead and hit the live button. I'm sorry, we're on live. Go ahead and hit the share button so that you can get the word out to other friends, other girlfriends, so that they can hear all about this. Here we go. All right. Yes, our guest is here.
Hey.
Hi there. Hi. All right, so let's see. I have tagged you in this post. So you should see it on your page. Hi, let us know where you're viewing from, where you're at. We'd love to know. Hey, Sam, Pine, Apple Star.
I've got a couple of shares I can do
Okay.
really quick. There's that one. And this one.
Good deal.
And one more. I don't think they'll
Okay.
mind.
That's good. That's good. You see it on your page or you see it on my page? Where do you see it?
Well, on my phone, I just see us two. I have my computer back that way, so I'm confident that it's on my page because I did add it to the timeline
Okay, good deal.
when I saw it. So I think it's good.
Hello, good evening, Sheba. Good evening, all your girlfriends. Let us know where you're tuning in at, where you're viewing us from. We got a special guest. We're all set. You have shared it to your locations. And here we go. Gonna give this another refresh. Hi there, Abigail. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Welcome to this. This is going to be an exciting interview with our special guest this evening. One more moment, and we're going to get started here.
Okay.
Okay. And like I said, I've tagged you in it, so you're all set. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. This is Angela Perry, and I am turned up for tonight's interview with our special guest. I am a homeschooling mom of 8 children, now 18 years of homeschooling, and it is my purpose-driven life to make an impact on homeschooling families, thousands of homeschooling families across the world. So thanks for joining with us. Tonight we have our special Energizer Bunny, homeschooling mom. You can't believe this woman. We have Michelle Huddleston with us tonight. Yay! Michelle, are you ready to make it happen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay, we're very good. Well, girlfriends, Michelle Huddleston is a homeschooling mompreneur of 4 children and married to her high school crush. Michelle is the blogger and resource creator behind the new thriving online community with the Huddlestons is what it's called, with the Huddlestons. She is also a 4-time self-published author. I don't know how she does it. And is passionate about helping new homeschool moms get started on the right foot. You can connect with Michelle through her blog, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. She's going to share all the details later on at the end of our show. For all of you homeschool girlfriends and girlfriends who are not homeschooling but supporting, please hit the share button and get this interview link out to your people, to your girlfriends. They have got to be on to hear this amazing woman share. I stand beside myself like, wow, because she has done so much. So anyway, Michelle, I have given our girlfriends a short bio intro about you. Please tell us more about yourself, and also, how did you get started with homeschooling?
Okay, I started out as a brick and mortar teacher, actually. I was a preschool teacher. I worked as a substitute teacher and a curriculum specialist assistant, just the whole 9 yards in the actual school setting. And then once my husband and I got together and we got married, we sat down and talked about how we wanted the direction of our family to go and what we wanted to do. And homeschooling was one of those things that we both decided. We were like, yeah, we're going to do that, simply because the way that we saw our society moving, like 6 years ago, we were like, we don't know if we want our children to be wrapped up into that, not having the freedom to do, what you could do if you homeschooled. So homeschooling choice came supernatural. It wasn't something we had to give very much thought about. So my first son, he actually did go to preschool and kindergarten at a public school. So I didn't start homeschooling him until first grade. And between then and now, we have 4 children, the youngest being 7 weeks. And the homeschooling journey has just been amazing. It really has. I have yet to spend over $100 a year. And that's if I absolutely wanted to. Like, that's my whole thing, is frugal mom homeschooling. And so it's been a joy, it's been a privilege, and I'm excited every year about it. Every year.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So had you seen someone homeschooling? How did that even come? I mean, I know being a public school, but someone else, did they inspire you? What made that transition so easy?
Well, honestly, the answer to that question is no. I really had not thought about homeschooling in a way because it was me seeing somebody else do it, so to speak. So when I decided, or my husband and I decided we would homeschool, I actually had to research to see if my community even had a homeschool community, so to speak, or if there were resources or people that I could reach out to, because I had no idea who was homeschooling. Because anybody in my little bubble, you mention homeschool and they're like, you want to do what? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to homeschool. So I had to deal with a lot of negativity, actually, from family and friends who just, really wasn't grasping the concept of, why do you want to homeschool? This is why we have public schools or private schools. Don't you want to go that route? And it's like, no. So one simple search brought up this local homeschool group that actually, when I first joined, there were only, I'd say, roughly 60 families. And I'm not saying 60 kids, but 60 families. And for some reason, all of us have 3 children or more. I think it's hilarious how that turns out. But now up to this year, there's over 100 families in this homeschool group in our community. So it's actually growing. But when I first started, it wasn't inspired by, knowing that other people were doing it. And I had no idea who I could reach out to, or, just what foot to get started on. And that's a lot of the drive behind, like you and I talked about, the handprint that I have in the homeschooling arena is for new homeschooling moms, because I remember what it was like to make that choice of, yeah, let's homeschool. And then you're just like, okay, where's the support? Who else is doing this? And then once you get comfortable and you find out that there are people that are homeschooling, there are people who are just as passionate, as you are, about teaching their children and being comfortable with it, peeling off the onion layers of the limiting beliefs that, no, I can't do this. I'm not a teacher. I don't have the credentials. I don't have the money. We can't afford to stay home to do this. Just all of the layers of the onion that are, surrounding homeschooling, that come off. They do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, listen, your background, of course, being a public, you have that education degree behind you. How beneficial, how helpful, how much, were you able to pull from that into your homeschool and take that into homeschool? Was it a beneficial thing to have that degree behind you?
I'd have to be honest and say that no. When it came down to homeschooling, that degree and that knowledge is actually on the shelf for me personally, because it's so much different now. Of course, I did start off my first year with the teacher mind frame. So I set up different areas in my house to resemble a classroom. The posters on the wall, we're going to homeschool in this area. You're going to be at the table so you can, have like a desk and all of those things. But it turned out to actually be a hindrance because it took away that nurturing aspect of, no, you're at home. You don't have to feel like you're in a classroom. You don't have to look at me like I'm your teacher because I'm your mom who just so happens to be educating you. I'm not schooling you. Schooling is what happens when you get in that system of, this is what you need to learn. This is how you're going to learn it in this amount of time. That's schooling. When you're at home, big difference. You're educating. And that's, like my son the other day, he was like, I want to learn about the eye. Great. Let's learn about the eye. So what did I do? I pulled some resources because, thank you, Internet and Pinterest and Google. You don't have to pay for anything. You can go pull resources. Just so I happen to have a few books. We learned about the eye one week. And that's simple, but I just, that the knowledge that I have, though, I can't discredit it completely. I've got binders after binders after binders of researched information of all kinds of things that are beneficial when it comes down to content and all that stuff. But do I really pull it off the shelf and look at it? Not really. Not really.
Well, you just said a mouthful. I mean, so we have Michelle Huddleston with us, girlfriends, this evening out of Kentucky. And her background is to be a public school educator. That's what her degree is, in education. And so we are hearing this woman tell us that the degree is not what's necessary. She had to really just put that on the back shelf to start her schooling. And though she can't, negate that there's some knowledge there that was inborn that you were able to use. But tell us this. How hard was it to separate this home education field, which you just described, from this school, classroom, public education that has been ingrained in you? How long were you in public schooling, teaching?
About 7 years total.
7 years.
7 years total. So yeah.
So
the whole.
How was that surgery able to happen? Explain that. Was it seamless or was it hard? Did you find yourself wavering back and forth? Take us to that point, Michelle.
It was mainly just realizing day after day, week after week, that, okay, I don't have to be the school teacher. Now, luckily, my son didn't have this adverse reaction, like, oh my gosh, shocked and kind of stopped in his learning. And, we didn't have anything that we had to work through that was proof that I was like school teacher, but it was more of like the personal conviction. It happened, I'd say, over the course of the whole first year of homeschooling was really the eye opener for myself to just look and be like, okay, do I really need to be in the kitchen where I've set up everything to school? It was myself and my own unexpected expectations that I put on myself. And so as I realized that I'm really beating myself up for not looking like this or for not teaching like this, it was, my own self-inflicted stuff here. And so it took about that first year for me to realize that it doesn't matter if we start at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock. It doesn't matter if, I don't school at all that morning and we pick it up after nap time. It was really coming to that realization that I don't have to look like XYZ. I look like Huddleston Academy, because what we do is what's working for us. And that's another, megaphone to moms is Be real, be you, and set your goals around your family morals, values, and beliefs, and roll with it. You don't have to look like a classroom. And that was my biggest, and I keep going back to that because that was my biggest thing. And every year, believe it or not, I will let y'all in on a little secret. Every year, I still put up the posters. I don't know why, but I still have the posters up. Maybe it's for my, like just in case I forget something, it's on a poster. But I do still do the posters. But coming from beginning to now, it's so much more liberating to know that I don't have a certain quota I'm trying to meet outside of, what the state requires. You homeschool so many hours, laws aside, you have the liberty to run your homeschool how you want to. And it's hanging on to that and believing that and then doing that and making sure you keep. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm about to say keep the blinders up to cut off the homeschool periph, because you'll see Susie over there with 8 kids who are all super well behaved. They're all super smart. And then you want to take that down and be like, why isn't my child doing that? Or what time did you say you get up in the morning and start school? Keep those blinders up and you focus in on your homeschool and what you're doing. And in that way, you don't have to, the whole question and point, you won't have to worry about crossing as many hurdles, because homeschooling is tough. Parenting is tough, but
Yes.
you can really save yourself a lot of backtrack forward if you could just keep this up like this.
That's good. That is good wisdom. You all, girlfriends, and the guys that up here, Michelle is putting it down, and this is so true. Good information. You all hit the share button. Get this out. This is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Michelle Huddleston out of Kentucky. This is the homeschooling mom of 4 children, 3 of which are under the age of 3. Y'all, I don't even say y'all, but y'all, she got 3 under the age of 3. And one is 7 weeks old, and her oldest one is in kindergarten, correct? Yes?
No, actually, I started homeschooling after he came out of kindergarten. He's actually 10 now.
Oh, he's 10. Okay. So you listen, she is putting it down. So you all hit the share button, go down, hit share button, give her some love, give her some hearts, give her some thumbs up if you are enjoying what you're here. So let's just dive in a little bit more deeper. Oh, goodness. So many questions are running through my brain. We want to know, Michelle, so you said keep the blinders on, stay in your lane, do you. What is you? What is doing Michelle in her homeschool? You shared a little bit about it, but tell us what your day look like. You start with, you got a baby, you got a toddler, you got a 3-year-old. That's a lot going on. What does your day look like, Michelle? And you writing books, and you're working on doctorate, and you got your hands in homeschool so much. Tell us what is your peripheral blinders up look like for your day?
Okay. Well, my day starts off with getting up before everyone so I can have me time and, of course, quality time with Father, journaling and praying and doing that. And then I usually either work on something that's school related or content related when it comes down to my blog or some type of curriculum resource that I'm creating along those lines. Now, usually the house starts to bump in about between 7 and 7:30. They start slowly but surely getting up. And honestly, our 7-week-old, he's awesome. He sleeps through the night. Now, we co-sleep, so that has a lot to do with it. But he sleeps through the night, and usually over into the morning, he's right there with everybody already, just up between 7 and 7:30. I whip up breakfast, and then we hit it. We hit homeschooling sometime between 8 and 9. It just depends on the day. And then luckily, my 10-year-old, he's in 4th and 5th grade, depending on what subject we're talking about. But he has really took to independent schooling. But leading up to that, what we do is every Sunday evening and sometimes Monday morning, but usually on Sunday evening, we will plan out his entire week on paper so he knows what is expected of him to do Monday through Friday. Typically, we homeschool 4 days a week, and we save that Friday for review days and test days, and that works. I've been doing that for almost 3 years now, and that just works wonders. It takes a lot of pressure off too on having to, Monday through Friday. But with my babies, we usually get in a solid hour. And that might not sound like a lot, but when you have a soon-to-be 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, their attention span, you can't really request them to sit still and take in a dump load of information and spit it back out, for 3-4 hours. That, to me, for Huddleston Academy, that's just unrealistic, and I'm not going to hold my children to that. Now, if they show me that they want to keep doing something, like we're in this literature-based study based off of the book Brown Bear, What Do You See? Well, they're absolutely in love with that right now. So schooling is lasting a little bit longer, but still can't, request them to school as long as my 10-year-old. So usually we're schooling about an hour. We do a lot of music and movement. They can say music and movement. They're like, music and movement? Absolutely, because they're learning. Music and movement is a big deal for us. We love music just as a family. Somebody is always singing something. You say one word and I'm going to turn it into a song. Same thing for my husband. But, and then we do lunch. And my 10-year-old, he still lays down. He might not nap, but he does rest. And so we'll do lunch, and then we wake up, and our afternoon is usually filled with more music and movement, reading books, playing. If it's not pretty outside, then they just play in the house and whatnot. But yeah, and then I'll hit my work and stuff after they go to bed. So before they wake up and after they go to bed. And if I stay disciplined, I try not to work on it during the day while I have them. But sometimes I kind of steal that time. If I know that they're content doing something, I might send an email or write a blog post right quick. But other than that, that's the life of Michelle. And it can change, though. It can change. There's some days where I'm like, school who and what? Let's go to the kitchen and cook something. And let's clean something. That's been the past couple days. It's like, all right, let's get some rags, go get the spray, let's clean toys. But they're learning. That's home economics for us. So
absolutely. We got a good question here. It says, which is what I was going to ask you, your techniques for independent studies. What does that look like? So you said Monday through Thursday. On Sundays, you set up the course requirements that you want him to complete Monday through Thursday, and then you all review on Friday, and that's your test day. What do you include in your independent studies for your 4th, 5th grade student?
Okay, he does Bible copy work. So he copies a certain amount of scriptures each day. For spelling, we set this up about 4 years ago where each day he has to do something with his spelling words. So Monday is 3 times each. Tuesday is definitions. Wednesday is sentences where he has to write it in a sentence. And then Thursday is rainbow words where he writes each word in different colors. And then Friday is his test day for spelling. We do use a book for language arts and a book for math. And then what I purchased, it's been 2 years at least, I purchased some encyclopedias from Usborne. I don't know if you're familiar with Usborne Books and More, but I purchased some of their encyclopedias. And the way that they're set up, he can literally read and take notes, and then it has questions in the back, and then sometimes I'll just quiz him or question him or have him to write a report on, and that's for science and social studies. And then with what other subject is there? Math, language arts, science, social studies, geography, we have a book. But here's the thing. When it comes down to as he increases in grades, I have been so blessed to be given so many resources. Now, after the first year of homeschooling, I caught wind. I started reaching out to my teacher friends like, hey, I know y'all be throwing stuff out because I was there. I remember y'all throwing a lot of stuff out. Throw it my way, and then what I can do is sift through it, keep what I would like to possibly use, and pass on what I'm not going to use. I've done that every single year, and that's another key to my frugal homeschooling, where it's virtually cost me almost zero because I'm doing the hand-me-downs, hand-me-overs, and God's just put people in my path. It's like, hey, I have this 4th grade book. Yes, let me see it. Let me use that. So yeah, that's my technique is with each subject. I write down, say for instance, math today was page like 121, and then he'll have to do parts A through C. And then what he does when he's finished, we started this semester because he can get really sidetracked, and I'm always finding myself saying, Alex, focus, Alex, focus. So what we started to do was when he's finished, he brings it to me, and on the spot, I check it and I sign off on a piece of paper. I either put mom or I put a sticker or a smiley face or something. That way I know, well, because last semester we had an issue where we were trusting him to do his work. We found out that he went a whole week without doing his spelling, and he got in trouble. He had to go back and do what he missed and do more and lost toys and just, the whole 9 yards. But, even still, we're still teaching focus. But I also have to be in on his focus as well to make sure he is actually doing that. So, and then I don't know if you want to know for you, independent studies. Okay, I was going to talk about the technique with my little ones, but she wanted to know about the independent.
Yeah, I am very much a big advocate for teaching your kids as young as you can. I think even, as soon as you're starting any kind of schooling, teaching them independent studies, getting something before them, even if for a 3-year-old, some little thing where you can say, I would like for you to do this, and mommy will be back and see how you did. Starting at 3 years old, whatever. I am a big advocate for giving children opportunity for independent study, and as they get older, adding more time. More time. So for a 3-year-old, maybe a couple of minutes. 4-year-olds, add some minutes to that. Kindergarten, they should be able to do it. My little one at 30, 40 minutes. I give him seat work, and he can go through it. And each year increasing, because you will realize you want to work yourself out of a job of schooling by the time they're in high school. I've learned that. I graduated at 3, and you definitely want to have, even if not sooner, retire yourself, not retire, but work yourself out of that job of having to oversee everything. Be one, hey ladies, hey Jasmine, be one where you are just an overseer, and it starts when they're little, right? So I totally agree with you, totally agree with independent studies. If you're not doing that, homeschool moms, do it. And if you're not homeschooling and you're thinking about it, consider independent studies. Get them doing some work on their own. So that's very good. Now, you have a great dynamic in that your husband is at home with you. He works from home, and you're with them all the time. You're together, although separate, but you're in the same space. Tell us what that looks like for some moms who are like, ooh, all day with your kids and your husband, y'all together all day, every day. Okay. What role does your husband play in this schooling at all, homeschooling?
He is, I love him so much for this too. He's like a principal, because there are some days where I'm just like, okay, mommy is going to take a break, and I'm going to go get daddy. And he'll come in and be like, are y'all giving your mom a hard time? And it's something about just, the man of the home, the head of the household. He doesn't even have to raise his voice. If he does raise his voice, they're all just like, and then they're just sweet little children again. So, he is there, even though he's got his own office where, he's not in the same space, but he, like you said, he's in the space, and he's just a room away, and I can go get him. He is my gavel. He will reiterate. He will, help steer the kids, and so that's awesome. And then there are some days where he actually wants to teach something or do something, and so I think it's neat for our kids to be able to have that dynamic as well, to have mom and dad kind of throwing in some teaching stuff. But it works. It really does. And I think it's because we've done it for almost a year now, where we're both at home and we're both here. But it works, and we just give each other a lot of grace, a lot of, we know what ticks each other off, and, when to not say anything or when to stay out of my way, or, but we talked about that go moment, growth opportunity moment. We'll have them, but they're few far in between, though, honestly. But he is hands-on when he needs to be hands-on, but he's also away, enough to be missed. So it works.
Good deal.
It
Good
really
deal.
does.
So there's places for dad in homeschool. There's a place for opposite mom, dad, or same. There's a place, and then there's maybe they're not so involved. How many hours of the day is your homeschooling usually last for your fifth grader, Michelle?
He usually takes about 4 hours because he's getting started about 9 to a little bit after 11, and then he'll pick it back up about 1:30 or 2, and depending on his procrastination or his focus level, he's schooled all the way to 5:30. And he actually,
Wow.
because we have this focus paper, and I require him to write down, okay, what do you want to focus on this week? Let's think about, things in Alex's life, and what are you going to focus on? And this was a few weeks ago. He said, Mom, I'm going to write down at the top of the paper that I want to be done with school by 5 o'clock every day. Because he will, and some people say, oh, it's a boy, I don't care who it is, what it is. We all need that, that focus in life. And I want him to learn that early, so it's not an issue when he's an adult wondering, why he's got ADHD tendencies. Well, no, you don't. So we're going to go ahead and nip that in the bud. But, so like I said, anywhere between 4 and 5 hours, depending on his ability to focus.
Gotcha. Okay, let's transition a little bit to some other, a little bit more deeper questions. Girlfriends, thanks for joining in. This again is Michelle Huddleston out of Kentucky. Girlfriends, this guy with Angela Jordan Perry. Thank you all for tuning in. Yes, give the hearts and the love and the share. Hit that share button and let other people know about this interview. So Michelle, take us to, now you've been homeschooling 7 years, right? Is that correct? 7 years? 5 years. Okay.
I was
All right.
in the school
I'm
system
okay.
7 years.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, 5 years homeschooling. Okay, so take us to your worst day of homeschooling that almost made you want to quit. But you didn't quit, and that's why you're the amazing homeschooling mom you are today. Take us to what that looked like and felt like.
I felt like a failure because what had drove me to that point of the day where I'm sitting there crying, literally, like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my kids? And I know that my husband is for me because he is just like, babe, it's okay, to have that encouragement. But what that looked like and felt like in the moment was, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my kids. There's something wrong with the stuff I'm trying to teach them. I don't even know what I'm trying to teach them right now. What is really going on? So, but it's part of that spiral effect that if we don't nip that mindset in the bud, it's going to keep happening and keep happening. Now, luckily, I did not let it drive me to the point of where it's like, oh yeah, no, we're getting them on the school bus next week. I know the superintendent. We ain't even got to fill out no papers. Put him on the bus. But luckily, I have never gotten to that point. But I know some people who are just like, no, I'm sending my kids back to school. And one of the things that with my practice, it's like if people can understand the mindset behind it, it's okay to have a bad day. We're going to have, and it's in my book. I put it in there. There are hard days. There's no way to sugarcoat that. There's no way. It should be something that's talked about more, actually, because people think that when you're homeschooling, you're either A, over here not doing nothing, or B, you're over here crazy. But really, it's good. It's good, but it should be talked about more, that there are hard days. There's days that you're going to want to give up, but it's developing that mindset of, I'm not going to let those thoughts turn into a hamster wheel and spin off of each other, and then before you know it, you're this horrible mom who never should have homeschooled. Why did I do this? What am I putting my kids through? No, throw all that out, have a bad day, but be able to recover from it where you can grace yourself and say, okay, I had a bad day. Why did I, getting to that point of where you can look back and be like, okay, why did I have that bad day? Was it me who woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Did I not feel like schooling and I pushed myself? Okay, well, if that's the case, then most likely my children felt that and they took that on themselves, because they can tell when mommy gets frustrated. They can tell when mommy gets to her, her cup is full and I need to sit down for a moment. And so did I push them? Well, they're pushing back. And now we have this resistance. And then at the end of the day, I'm this horrible mom who never should have homeschooled. Well, no, it's just next time that I recognize that I kind of woke up a little funny today. So let's put schooling off this morning and let's pick it up this afternoon. Let's do something else. If it's warm outside, let's go outside and play, get some sunshine. If it's, not, let's watch something on Netflix, still educational, but we're relaxed, It's just getting to that point where you can not let the bad days or the hard days push you to the point of where you want to quit for real. Because you will want to quit maybe sometimes, but it's that quitting for real where you're signing the papers, putting your kids back into the very system that you didn't want them in to begin with.
I got you. Yep. And I, 18-year veteran here, and I still have moments of consideration like, should I put him in public school? I mean, you have those moments. So other than that, what's your self-talk? What is your self-talk that says, that changes that whole mindset?
It is remembering scripture, honestly. It's, and my best friend, Christina, she's on right now. It's having that support system. And I encourage all homeschooling moms, because when you're new, the wall goes up and you don't want to let anybody in. You want so bad to have support and to have, another friend who homeschools, but at the same time, there's this resistance of like, I really don't know. Bust that wall down and get you some support, get you somebody that you can, that can help hold you accountable. Christina's a text away, and I feel like, girls, one of them days, pray. We'll bounce scripture off of each other, because that mind. Scripture even talks about it. It can play tricks. It can go crazy. It can have you thinking, all kinds of things. But it's just remembering your why. Why are you homeschooling? Remembering that you are doing the best you can do. And you're doing the best you can do with what you have. And it's just really taking every negative thought and bouncing it off of something positive. Oh, my kids are being so today. Okay, my children are wonderful. They are awesomely and wonderfully made. They're great. They're only 2 and 3 and 7 weeks and 10. And my husband always reminds me, babe, they are watching you. They are watching how you handle stuff. And I've got to keep that in mind too, but that works for me to look at them as like reflectors. Because if I raise my voice, I can't get mad at them if they raise their voice. I'm raising my voice. Now there is that, I'm mom, so don't get it twisted. But at the same time, they're reflections of me. So just keeping in mind, I'm homeschooling because one, it's my God-given right. I'm blessed to be able to do it. We want to do it. And honestly, in this day and age, for us, we need to do it. We need to do this.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you for taking that moment to share your why. That was going to be my question. Very good. To always keep your why before you. It brings you back to, I can do this again. We can keep it going. So Michelle, tell us your proudest moment in homeschooling. What is the day that's like, oh, yes.
Oh, that's going to make me cry.
We can handle. You all get some tissue, girlfriends. It's about to come. Here it is. Here it is. Get ready. We are waiting.
Okay. Okay. My proudest moment actually was today when my son, I cooked a pizza for dinner, just something really simple so we didn't have to run over and end up mommy being late for this. But when my soon-to-be 2-year-old is standing there and he's pointing at the plates and he says, green, and I said, yeah, and he points at my plate. He said, orange. because it's, even though each of our kids are unique, somewhere in there, it's still this, your sister was already talking by now, and you get used to what one child does, and you get used to that milestone, whether how fast or slow they reached it. And so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, my 2-year-old is not talking like I think he should be. And so today when he's telling me his color, the colors of the plates, I'm just like, yes. And he's saying the color crystal clear where I can hear orange, green, and he's starting to say, I'm sorry. So I know he's feeling, he's just, he's growing. And it was a reminder that he is right where he needs to be. My little Euphrates, my just fruitful little guy, he is right where he needs to be. Saphira, she's fast. That girl, she's the only girl now. I got 3 boys. She gets them together, all 3, 10 to 7 weeks. Mom, you want me to pack his bag? Honey, you sure can. But anyway, so yeah, my proudest moment was actually today. I'm just, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Girlfriends, oh, that is beautiful. Girlfriends, you are with me on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschool with Michelle Huddleston, this energizing bunny, homeschool mom of 4 children out of Kentucky. 3 of them are under the age of 3. You all be sure to give her some hearts and love as we dig a little deeper. And we're going to ask them some short questions, quick questions just to pick your brain. You can give those short little answers to them. But here you go. What is your favorite quote that helps you through this homeschooling journey?
If it ain't real, well, I'll say it this way, keep it real, and if it ain't real, don't keep it.
Keep it real, and if it ain't real,
don't keep it.
Don't keep it. Okay, that's good. I like that. I like that quote. Do you plan to homeschool all the way through high school?
I plan on it, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
What is something unique that you implement in your homeschooling that makes the Huddleston's homeschooling what it is?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I will say this. We're Torah observant, so I think being Torah observant adds a little tweak to our homeschooling, because while we're not celebrating Christmas and Easter and all that stuff, we are celebrating the biblical holidays, and we eat clean, and we wear these things called tzitzits. I mean, it's totally different than what we see around us. And so I think that adds a little tweak to it, because with that also comes learning Hebrew. When most people are like, well, what language is, your foreign language? Most people are like, oh, Spanish or French. And we're like, Shalom, Hebrew. So, yeah, I think that sets us apart for sure.
Oh, yeah. But that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What curriculum or book do you have in your library that you feel like every homeschooler must have? It's a must have.
Ooh. Because, I'm really not a curriculum, I'm not a curriculum buyer. I usually make all my own stuff, Go to my shop and get my stuff. Can I say that? No, I'm serious stuff. I do have a lot of resources. But I would say, the Bible. I would say the Bible. I mean, you can't go wrong with, you can teach from that, learn from that alone almost. I mean, there's math and everything. Add up some verses, subtract. But yeah, I'd say the Bible for sure, because I'm trying to think. Like I said, I don't use one set, curriculum, and I love Usborne books. That's my second go-to for inexpensive books that I can pull stuff from and that could be used for independent studying for sure.
Very good. Okay, what is the best piece of advice that you've received that's added value to your homeschooling?
The best piece of advice I have received is, no matter how old your kids get, they still need their mama. No matter how old they get, they still need their mama. True.
True. What is your favorite resource, tool, online resource that has helped you to be successful in your homeschool? I don't know, maybe there's an app, there's videos that you use. What type of resources?
I absolutely love Netflix and YouTube. They have really, for one, they've come a long way, and two, the type of things that you can find on there are just limitless. I love it. I love being able to go to a YouTube video or a Netflix educational show.
Okay. Are there any specific books that you've read? I mean, other than you have to, you tell us about your book you've written, but besides your book that you've written, are there any books that you have read that has really helped shape and form your homeschooling?
I would, besides the Bible, I'm always going to go to the Bible. That's the answer for everything. Besides the
Yeah,
Bible.
yeah.
Now, this was one that I didn't even get it for homeschool purposes or anything, but the what the book was about can be tailored to just wherever you are in life. And it's Judy Jacobs' "You Are Anointed for This." It's just a generalized type of, you're anointed for whatever it is that is your soulful purpose in your life. And so for me and where I'm at, being a wife, a mom, homeschooling mom, mompreneur, blah, 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 I'm anointed for this. I have to remember that I'm anointed for this. So her book, Judy Jacobs, for sure. You are anointed for
Beautiful.
this.
Yes. Well, here's the last question, Michelle, the $1,000,000 question. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Well, if you had to start all over again from the beginning, you'd go back to day one, fresh, all new to start homeschooling, but you have all of your current knowledge, wisdom, experience, and skills. What would you do differently?